Absolute darkness. A crack. Structural collapse. Life spills onto the cold stone. A wet, trembling heap covered in translucent, and then ignition. A chemical miracle occurs. The tail tip sparks, not merely a light, but a miniature thermal reactor coming online. It stares at the flame, not with fear, but with the fascination of a creature recognizing its own soul for the very first time. Primal instinct screams at it to rise, to conquer the world in its very first minute of existence. But new limbs, untested by load-bearing, betray that ambition. It slips on the slick remnants of its own birth. Center of gravity is lost, arms flail helplessly, and impact. Reality hits hard, physical pain. And the very first stinging taste of shame. Yet curiosity outweighs the bruise. The outside world is a vibrant feast for the senses, yet riddled with hidden physical laws it has yet to comprehend. A wildflower, deceptive in its beauty, invites olfactory inspection. It approaches, naive and curious, seeking connection.
The pollen triggers an involuntary allergic spasm of the mucous membranes.
A violent sneeze, and catastrophe. A spark escapes. In a microsecond, beauty is reduced to carbon and ash by the creature's very nature. Panic sets in. It attempts to erase the mistake, frantically patting the fire, only to smudge the evidence of its destructive power onto its own hands. A permanent stain, reminding it that its existence brings ruin. Gnawing hunger drives the next experiment in physics. The target, a caterpie, resting high above, a seemingly effortless protein meal. The predator calculates the trajectory, loading potential energy into its leg muscles. The leap is committed with absolute faith in its own ability. It fails to account for a critical variable, the coefficient of friction. The dew-soaked leaf is a frictionless track. Traction is instantly lost. Gravity reclaims its prize, sending the arrogant hunter plunging into a viscous pit of mud below. Fluid dynamics take over, a humiliating, messy splash. The prey offers no sympathy, only casting a mocking glance back at the muddy, defeated failure. Frustration and hunger metastasize into blind aggression. It spots what appears to be a sleeping boulder, a target that cannot run, perfect for venting rage and satiating hunger. Resulting collision is brutal, a deafening, ear-splitting sound echoing across the canyon. Force meets the unyielding, immovable object. The pain is excruciating, a shockwave of agony through its small frame. This is the steep, painful cost of material ignorance. The sleeping giant awakes. Newton's third law takes effect. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. In this case, The reaction is a forceful launch into the horizon with immense G-force, turning the hunter into a living projectile. The final act of contemptuous, brutal dismissal. A heavy, sickening thud. The ground provides a final, dusty cushion. The slow, agonizing ascent back to its feet is laborious, a heroic effort of will, yet filled with a renewed, deeply primal determination to never be defeated in this way again. But the natural world offers no rest, no moment of sanctuary. It cares nothing for its past failures or lessons learned. The sky darkens rapidly. The rain descends, a torrential, overwhelming assault. The threat of water is now absolute and total. The true struggle for existence begins. Water rises and pools. The living space shrinks rapidly. Trapping the creature in a cold, crushing embrace. There is nowhere left to run. Extreme, paralyzing fear engulfs it. This is the ultimate primal nightmare. Fire meeting the cold, unstoppable flood. Cornered, facing absolute desperation, the end seems certain. Adrenaline surges, a final, explosive biological failsafe. A profound, ancient, and painful change begins. The fire core intensifies with blinding force, fighting back against inevitable extinguishment. The internal temperature spikes catastrophically, beyond all natural limits, creating a masking cloud of furious steam. The light dissipates. A new, terrifying form emerges, larger, scaled, and hardened, possessing absolute power and aggression, perfectly engineered for battle and immediate survival. The sheer, overwhelming sound breaks the surrounding formation, a powerful, commanding roar that changes the acoustic landscape. The local predators, momentarily stunned, the storm breaks, retreating from the thermal shock. The crisis is decisively over, not by passively waiting for the weather to change, but by a forced, painful, and complete biological transformation. The tail flame now burns strongly and stably, a beacon of its unyielding will, a declaration of absolute, achieved vitality. The body is no longer fixed and limited by the ground, but soaring toward the sky, toward a new, boundless limit. A true escape. 5 years pass, a long, crucial period of rapid development and refinement. The sky, boundless and open, becomes the next and greatest battleground. The small, clumsy reptile has completely vanished, replaced by the supreme aerial hunter, a winged behemoth, a definitive new sovereign of the upper atmosphere. Behold the Charizard, the embodiment of elemental power, a colossal creature forged not by chance, but in the crucible of fire and unrelenting adversity. Its very existence is a triumph of will. Power and raw elegance are united in a perfect, terrifying union. Aerodynamic precision guides the massive, leathery wings. It navigates the treacherous high canyons with surgical G-force control and absolute confidence. This is the pinnacle of biological and evolutionary perfection. Then, a flock of Firo trespasses, an unwelcome intrusion. A challenge to the aerial sovereignty cannot and will not be tolerated. It is a violation of its domain, demanding swift, absolute, and overwhelming retaliation. A focused, single-minded beam of rage. The supreme predator prepares to defend its airspace. Charged for firing. The legendary blue flare. Fire so hot it appears blue, a visible manifestation of pure thermal destruction. The heat is instant and absolute, leaving no possibility for escape. Victory is affirmed, a violent, unquestionable reality. The world, below and above, submits entirely to the unchallengeable will of the aerial supreme being. The victory flight, a triumphant, slow-motion ballet. It begins its descent toward the highest symbolic peak. Claws extend, poised and ready for the perfect, iconic landing. The image is meant to last forever. The ultimate display of achieved power. A flawless, authoritative touchdown upon the razor-sharp throne of the mountain. But the core nature of the beast, the fundamental clumsiness, remains unchanged. Centripetal force and sheer immense mass betray its dominance. The stone throne shatters beneath its weight. A catastrophic, agonizing failure, perfectly repeating the humiliation of its infancy with the water, completely extinguishing the core fire. It sinks rapidly, helpless and powerless, drowning. The apex predator, the master of the sky and fire, is now struggling against the mere absence of air, a frightening, profound helplessness that strips away its identity. There is a final, frantic, desperate spark. The core fire reignites, not through will, but from the deepest, most primordial well of its instinct, a refusal to die. The final, agonizing struggle is met with one last, painful biological transformation. The tail flame bursts back to life with the force of a volcanic eruption, a glorious, miraculous rebirth from the depths of its defeat. The final, ultimate form. Perfection achieved. Charizard has become the undisputed sovereign of fire and sky. Life is ceaseless. It flows like water, always seeking its ancient equilibrium and the necessity of renewal. The earth heals itself, stressing the complete, inevitable return to peace and ecological balance after the storm and struggle. The magnificent beast, the self-proclaimed ruler of the skies, has failed again in the simplest task. The final, long sigh of weary resignation. A solemn, immutable reminder that no matter how high you fly, no matter what forms you achieve, you still inevitably fall where you began. The fundamental clumsy nature, the core flaw, remains immutable.